And because they have discipline, he does not have to be like a disciplinarian. Matt was asked how his own children, sometimes he's asked how they are so well behaved. And they said, like, how do you discipline them? And he says, I don't discipline them. I teach them about discipline. So he gives them options to be disciplined. And because they have discipline, he does not have to be like a disciplinarian. And then sometimes, like especially when they were younger, he could say, something to the effect of like, hey, like, and out of all the stuff we talk about, like, was that the right decision? Was that the right decision to steal that piece of fruit from your cousin or whatever, or to take that toy from that other kid, or, and then the kid can kind of like try to remember like what they talked about. And if they don't remember, then they can kind of discuss it further. But he has all these like rules, his like family rules that they live by. And I just thought it was really interesting. And I think teaching children about the benefits of discipline and what they can do for you, rather than always dealing with short-term gratification of everything, like, oh, I'm going to have, I'm going to have ice cream, or I'm going to eat pizza, or I'm going to make this decision right now to be mean or rude to this person in this moment because it benefits me. Or no, I'm going to take my time. I'm going to keep to myself on this and not interrupt what they're doing. And then you get the long-term, benefits of being disciplined. So I just thought it was really fascinating and something that I wanted to share.
On that note, real quick, 'cause I know we're going to talk about something else, but on the discipline aspect of things, I just think about, I slip with this all the time, but discipline is something that's like, it's easy to understand, but I wonder nowadays as a parent, I'm not a parent, but if it's something that's harder to impart because there are so many easy ways to get quick gratification now, that you don't even think about. You open up your phone, you open up YouTube, you watch a video you like immediately, you open up Netflix, you get food immediately, or you get everything you want immediately. So like it's as an individual, you have to go out of your way to seek some discipline. Like, no, I'm not going to open up Instagram right now,
right?
Or I'm not going to do this right now. I'm just going to sit here for a little bit. You have to train that on your own, right? But then you have to, like, I wonder for you guys, you then have to teach your kid about discipline. And I think it might be easier for a parent teaching a child since the kid doesn't get everything they want as an adult can. But it's just, it's a very interesting thing because it's like, yeah, it's necessary, but we're in a time where like everything's at your fingertips, everything you want, man.
And really, really, truly great things that are like more like honorable things that are really looked at as being awesome amongst society.
Yeah.
Are things that take a really long time.
Yeah.
My wife's ability to swim is something that took her decades to figure out. Then she got school paid for, and it shaped a lot of her life because she has discipline that surrounds that. There'll never be anything harder that she'll ever do or go through than 2-day practices while being a student athlete at the University of Kansas. Like, it just won't, nothing will ever match that amount of pressure. Now, she could have harder times because of like stress or, unfortunate family tragedies and things like that, right? Like, you could go through all kinds of different things, or you battle your own thing. Like, those things happen, right? And then same thing with myself, the things that I did in powerlifting, lifting some of those big weights, those weren't a byproduct of me being great or extraordinary necessarily. If there was anything extraordinary about it, it was just a consistency over a long period of time to do something that I really enjoyed, and to stick with it, whether I got hurt or tore something or whatever. I just stuck with it for a really long time. And so hopefully my kids can kind of see those things and say, well, those things took a long time, but that actually seems like a really interesting road to go down. And it doesn't mean you have to sacrifice everything. I think that's kind of what some people try to sell you on. Is like, you got to sacrifice everything.
Power Project family, how's it going? I want to tell you guys about the legendary Tasty Pastry. And we've talked about Ben & Jerry's and snacks and stuff on the podcast, but those can go against your goals. They can be too calorically dense, and they can really make you crave more bad foods. But the crazy thing about the legendary Tasty Pastry is that it's 20 grams of protein and 5 grams of net carbs and 180 calories. And they taste amazing. You guys need to check them out. They have tons of flavors. Andrew, how can they get it?
Yeah, and the other thing, they passed the kid test. Kids love these things as well. Head over to eatlegendary.com and at checkout, enter promo code POWERPROJECT to save 20% off all the tasty pastries, all the nut butters, all the almonds, everything. Again, eatlegendary.com. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes. Let's get back to the podcast.
I don't feel like I did that. I did sacrifice some stuff, maybe some social time with some friends and some things like that. But I spent a lot of time with my family. I don't feel like I shortchanged them. I think a lot of people they routinely talk about this like great sacrifice they have to make. And I've never felt that way. The person I'm a huge fan of is Art Williams. He's a speaker. He's the guy with the Just Do It speech.
Yeah.
He said that when he was coming up in business, that he was learning that you had to separate out friends from business, and that you had to do things this way, and this is the way to the top. And he said to himself, if that's the way to the top, you end up divorced and you end up with no friends, then I'm not doing it that way. He's like, I'd rather be in the middle, but he was still able to make his way to the top. He is a billionaire. So,
oh shit, I did not.
Yeah, he sold his company for some ridiculous amount of money. Lifetime insurance type thing or something like that. But you don't have to make these crazy sacrifices to win a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt world championship. There's going to be sacrifices, of course, here and there, but it might not mean that you have to sacrifice relationships. It might not mean that you don't have any friends. Like it might mean that for one person, but meanwhile, for another person, maybe they're able to still keep a lot of other things incorporated into their life.
It's not the blueprint. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out that right now. I think what you just said, though, Mark, about, I mean, you've said this in the past, like, you don't want to be remembered as the best scroller on Instagram. So, like, if you want to be remembered for some cool shit, like, yeah, you will have to get off social media. You're going to have to actually get out and do some cool stuff if you want to be remembered for something cool. Relaying that to my about to be 14-year-old daughter, it's like, it's hard to find the right language because, you don't want to be like drill sergeant or like hire Ray Cash to come yell at her or something like that because, it's going to push her the wrong way. But then you can't be so soft to where it's like, I'm going to let her turn into Jell-O, like just melt away into nothing. It's like, I have to figure out exactly how to, present being, kind of a savage in a nice way.
Yeah, and
it's hard.
I think a lot of encouragement, and you're right, can be difficult. I was thinking today with my daughter, getting her to school on time every day. My wife gets like worried that she's not going to make it on time, but I'm like, this is her time, not my time. She's late to school. It's on her. This is her life. This is her career. This is her. She's
her resume.
When you're a student, it's like the main thing you have to worry about and focus on. She knows when she has to be to school. So if she spends extra time in her room and I don't get her to school on time, that's not on me. That's on her. I'm sitting there. I'm waiting for her. My dad mentioned to me, he's like, I dropped her off the other day, but I think we were a little bit late. I was like, you were there on time, right? And he's like, yep. I was like, it's her. It's on her. That's her life. Same thing with my son when he started messing up in school. I'm like, that's on him. And we've had conversations like, hey, can you do better? Yeah, I could do better. I would like for you to do better. If you choose not to do better, what am I going to do? Hit you with a ruler? Like, what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to yell at you to show you how much I care, pound my fist on the table? Am I supposed to cry or give you some epic speech? All I can do is just try to reinforce the fact that these are things of discipline, and it can help you to be disciplined now to do these things this way. And you could be further disciplined throughout the rest of your life. However, I also know that's not really true because you're just a fucking kid, 14 years old. Who really cares if you're a little bit late to school? Who really cares if you miss a homework assignment? It doesn't matter too much. But at some point, you will get yourself into a position where you're like, I think I could do better. But that's usually just because you found something you're interested in. So I usually tell parents, I had a privilege of meeting Bedros Keuilian's son at this event. He's like 15, and I got a chance to talk to him for a little while. And he was telling me that he plays the guitar and that he does some boxing with his dad and he lifts some weights and stuff. And so I told Bedros later on, I was like, I had a really cool conversation with your son. I was like, I talked to him for like 20 minutes. It's like, it's pretty rare. You don't usually get in a conversation with a teenager. It's kind of hard sometimes. And I said, you're doing a good job. And he was like, oh, thanks, man. I was like, no, dude, you're doing a good job. Like, I want you to be in recognition of that. He was like, well, thank you, very much. And I said, don't worry about him. And he's like, what? I was like, he's good. I was like, you and your wife, whatever you're doing with him, like, you're doing a good job. Like, I can tell that even just from the 20-minute conversation that I just had with him. Mm. And he's like, you know what? He's like, that puts me at ease, brother. He's like, thank you so much. So it's not easy to try to figure out how to manage these little specimens, but I don't think we need to like necessarily have our foot in their ass all the time. But if you set things up from when they're really young, then it's a lot easier.
Pet Project family, we appreciate you checking out this clip. Check out another one. Just go check out another one. Or comment down below and let us know what you liked about this one. But we love you guys, and we're going to keep bringing you the heat. So comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff, okay? Peace.